Oh, hello guys, welcome back. I think I've told this story before on this channel, and I think a lot of you have heard it before, but when I was in either junior high or high school, uh, we were discussing the Greek gods. We were studying them in an English class. Why we were doing that, I'm not quite sure, other than because they were being studied as stories. And remember, I grew up in a very Christian community, and this is decades ago, so there was no internet or anything else. And of course, since they're Christians, there was nothing in the library to tell you otherwise. So they would teach that the gods were dead. And I remember sitting in class and just being horrified, because all my life I've been taught about how, their temples were burned and ransacked, and all their statues were destroyed, and their followers were prosecuted. Now, I'm not saying this to cause bad emotions towards Christians. This happened thousands of years ago. Let it go already. But I felt sorry for these gods because I knew what it was like to be an outsider, because I've always been a bit of a loner. And so I vowed to them, as we were studying them, that if I could ever find them and bring them back to life, because remember, I was told they were all dead, that if I could ever find them and bring them back to life, because I was already studying magic at the time, that I would do that. And, I would worship them and they would be worshipped again. I had no idea at the time that there were still active worshippers of our gods. That was not even in my wheelhouse, because like I said, there were no internet, at least that I had access to, and no, people to say otherwise. I'm sure there were pagans in my community, but they weren't going to be open about it. So, Loki, being a god of oaths and promises, and keeping your promises, and being definitely a god about family, he's been making sure as many times as he has to that I honor those promises. And because I had the specter and it's taken over a year for the effects to leave my body, he's been very patient about it, and they have too. And it was finally time for Hermes to step forward and be acknowledged. And Hermes had to do a lot of being other gods during this time to just be near me to work with me, but that's okay. I don't blame him for doing what he had to do to work with me. I don't blame Loki for the same reasons. If our gods have to do something to work with you, they will. And it's just been, it's been a very healing time for me. I believe the gods do get something from their relationship with us, but it's been very, healing for me to be reunited with Hermes. Not that he ever left, but, it's complicated. And he's the one that's, bringing all the other gods forward and, bringing me to the right articles and saying, we're not what we're portrayed as in the stories. We're not these big frightening gods that are out to get you. And, he's the one reminding me that they are my ancestral gods. Now, you can fight all day if you want in the comment section about Greco-Roman gods. I really don't care. But as far as they're concerned, they're our ancestral gods. They are the gods of many people. They were in many lands. They were Egypt, England, Rome, Greece, everywhere. Those are just what we know of. We have no idea how far their reach extended. And so it's just been, very good to work with our gods and very healing. And one of the mixed blessings of people thinking they were, past tense, which of course they're not, they're referred to as the Deathless Gods for a reason, is that we have statues of our gods everywhere. We have a lady in the harbor who may or may not be a goddess, let's not tell the normies. And we have, statues of our gods all over New York City and all these other places. And it's vastly amusing because they were put up as symbols, as decorations, but we still have these statues, which amuses them to no end. And it's been very good. And like I said, the pop culture thing is a mixed blessing. Our gods love us and our gods love attention. And if they have to take that attention in a pulp culture form, they will, because I've never gotten the sense that they blame any other gods for what has happened. It's always humans doing the shoving of gods down other people's throats. Our gods don't walk up to us and demand worship. Now, if they know you, that's another thing. You maybe woke up at 2 a.m. and like, where's my coffee? You promised me coffee. But, other than that, and other than where's my offering, they don't just randomly walk up to people and demand worship. They will try to contact you. They will, try to give you little signs and stuff like that. But in general, they don't force themselves on people. But though once you open the door and you love them and you let them into your heart, then no, you're not getting rid of them. They're yours now. You don't get to, get rid of them. And it's just been, it's been very healing, because we shouldn't have, as I said to someone in the comments a really long time ago, and it's true, we shouldn't have orphan gods. The only reason I don't have that Judeo-Christian God with me is because he never wanted anything to do with me. He never had the time of day for me. I just wasn't up to his standards. I was up to the standards of just about every other god, but I wasn't up to his standards, and that's fine. A lot of lying was done, and we had to do a thing of identifying our guardian angel. I did have an angel, because angel is, Greek or whatever for, messenger. So I technically had an angel. I did. Just happened to be a divine god. But, that is what it is. And I can't be bitter about that, because for the people that he'll work with, he apparently works miracles with them. It's like, well, okay. But, I think that they pick their people out before birth, and unfortunately our parents, for better or worse, try to put us with gods that sometimes don't want anything to do with us. I can tell you all the baptism, first communions, acts of contrition, confessions, and everything else didn't take. He didn't want me. Didn't want anything to do with me. But, our gods did, so I was blessed. I lost one god, which I never had in the first place, and I got, countless gods, so it all works out in the end. And it's been healing to, know that the gods have been with me, and to have Hermes, he gets all excited, and he's dragging you to meet the whole family. But he and Loki are similar in that way. They're very proud of their pantheons, and they will take you around to meet everyone. And no, they're not the same pantheon. Oh my god, you can say Greco-Roman. I will go for that argument, because they are the same exact stories 90% of the time. But Norse, Greco-Roman, no, they're not even remotely alike. And so they've been very happy, and they've been very pleased. And Loki's been very fatherly towards Hermes. I have no idea if gods even consider age, but he's been very fatherly towards Hermes. He's very protective of him, like he's protective of the rest of the gods in the household, because he's Papa Fox, and he's gonna watch over all the other little gods, and they're little tiny puppies, and they don't know what they're doing. He's very sweet. He has a huge, parental instinct in him, and you're not going to stop him from fathering anybody. He loves everybody. So they've been really settling in with each other. I took them both up. We had a respite from the heat. We went up to the Dollar General. They were both running around, and you guys know I get easily overwhelmed. I get sensory overload. So if I go into a store like our Dollar General and there's no physical space between the items, because there's not, it's just all jammed together, I get sensory overload, and I find it really extremely hard to concentrate. I know I'm looking at food, I know I'm looking at food objects, but I see too much and I don't know anything I want at all. I get really confused really easily, so I ended up walking out with some little Debbie donut cakes and a couple other stuff, not actual food. So it's that's my diet now, because the store's kind of overwhelming, because I was looking at all the meat and everything. I didn't want it, so I'm at least getting food I'll eat. But it was there was just too much in a small space, and I got overwhelmed. But it's okay, we can go back anytime we need. And like I said, we might end up doing a Walmart order, because when I can look at one single item at a time online, and I have all the time in the world, then I can decide what I want. So it'll work out. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I really do appreciate Hermes being here. Someone has said, in the comments, and I appreciate about him being a god of reverence and justice, which makes sense because, you know, he loves everyone and he's very much for justice. The thing I would say is not like Jesus loves you. Jesus loves everyone, but Hermes might love you, but if you turn out to be the next Hitler, he's not going to approve of what you do. He's not going to approve of us hurting each other. Like if I said, "Oh, Hermes loves me, I'm going to go off and hurt these people." No, of course not. He wouldn't be happy with me. So it's just, you know, it's good to have him here. He's a lot, at least in my experience, like Loki, and yet he's a lot not. Loki's kind of Pinkie Pie, and Hermes is kind of Fluttershy. He can have a lot of energy, but with me, he's usually more shy. Sounds odd to say about Hermes, but he is a little shy compared to Loki. Everybody's shy compared to Loki. And he's more quiet. And since he has pastoral roots, since he's a rural god, he's very much a little animal god. Loki loves all the little animals, but nobody loves all the little animals as much as Hermes. Like I could let him look at sheep and goats and everything all day. He would be a happy god. Cows. I don't know how happy Apollo would be about that. Cows. Anything. So yeah, and he's easy to feed. He's easy to feed. He's a very modern god. He hasn't been fussy about anything. He loves Hot Pockets. Apparently these are the greatest invention he ever inspired. So he's having fun. He's making Percy Jackson references. So the first thing I fed him when he came back around this time was blueberry Hot Pockets. And he goes, "Blue food is cool." And I looked at him and it took me a minute. And I said, "I can't believe you just did that." He's like, "Ah." So yeah, they're both getting along. And I just wanted to get you guys up to speed because it does affect like how many videos I put out and the quality of the videos depending on who I'm working with. But I feel a lot better. It took over a year for that Aspexer to really wear off. And I had a little rough patch here for a while, but it seems to be going better now. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.